Well, welcome to the John Kentera Show on a Monday morning. Hope everyone had a great weekend. Man, what a weekend in the world of sports between pennant baseball, working their way towards the end of the season, to college football, to pro football. Man, an amazing weekend. And if you're a sports fan and you're starting Monday and going, yeah, wasn't that great? You might want to check your heartbeat. Man, there were game after game over the weekend that were just absolutely incredible. But I had an incredible weekend. I'm going to share that with you. But as usual, I want to give you all the who, what, where, whys. Again, we're here Monday, Wednesday, and Friday morning, 9 a.m. Occasionally, we'll throw in a Thursday night show. We'll see what we do come Padre playoff time. Might even have to do a few post-game shows during the playoffs. We'll have to wait and see on that. But hey, the Padres, they wake up this morning still out of first place, but only one game back. A rough weekend for the Dodgers. A better weekend for the Padres, even though Friday night was a complete and utter disaster, to be honest with you. And we'll get into that in a minute. I got a lot to share with you today. But I want to remind everyone, please, if you like the channel, please subscribe. Please hit like. Please turn on your notifications. And we just started it a week ago, our Gold Glove membership. $2.99 a month. If you'd like to support the channel, would very much appreciate you being a part of the Gold Glove member club. $2.99 a month, and we'll continue to bring, I would consider, great content to you because I don't just read things on the internet, read things in the paper. I actually talk to people that are in the know. So we'll give you a little more inside information than you're going to get on most talk shows, quite frankly, and being honest about that. A lot to get to today, folks. A lot to get to. I do want to congratulate Alex Morgan, formerly of the San Diego Wave. Last night after the Wave, man, they spit the bit last night. They got beat 3-0 at home by the Houston Dynamo at Snapdragon. They retired the number of Alex Morgan, number 13. And I don't know Alex Morgan. I've obviously watched her, being a soccer fan, all what she was able to get done with the U.S. national team in her brief time with the Wave, really getting the franchise off the ground. And now she's a community member. Also bought a stake in the Wave, which is good. Got two young children. Just had a little boy back in March. Great community member. Her and her husband, really good people. And I want to congratulate her. That's a tremendous honor. I mean, it was a slam dunk. But, one of the great soccer players in the history of women's soccer. And that's not just in the United States, that's worldwide. So congratulations to Alex Morgan on having her number retired last night. I had my 10-year-old granddaughter, her dad, went to the game last night. I haven't talked to them, but I'm sure they were pretty excited. And I guarantee you, Poppy, my granddaughter, probably kept her dad there until the bitter end last night because she actually met Alex Morgan a few weeks ago out and about in Encinitas, and it was really weird. She met her, talked to her one day, and the next day she saw her again. It was amazing. So Alex Morgan's out in the community, which is a really cool thing. Um, Want to tell you about my trip on Saturday. For so many years, I was on the radio, at all hours, every day of the week sometimes. And, went to the Rose Bowl, broadcast games from the Rose Bowl, never did a game from the LA Memorial Coliseum. Well, I got invited up to the LA Memorial Coliseum for the SC Georgia Southern game. It just so happened Clay Helton, the former USC head coach, coaches Georgia Southern. But I'm a member of the Southern California Broadcasters Association, and I was invited by the president, Pete Arbogast, the voice of the USC Trojans, and has been for many years. And Pete has become a really good friend. He's a great broadcaster and has always, kept me in the loop. And so we got invited up there. So I took my son-in-law. He had a big weekend. He got to go to the Memorial Coliseum, and then he went to the Wave game last night. But anyways, Matt, we drive up there, and it couldn't have been easier. We got off the freeway, made a left, went about 50 yards, made another left, and into this parking structure. It couldn't have been easier. Best $60 I've spent in a long time. Because whenever you go, especially to an area you're not familiar with, you're always worried about parking and getting around. And so we get parked, we walk over to the Coliseum, and we're there like 3 hours early. So we're walking around hotter than Hades. Everybody's wearing SC gear. And we don't have any SC gear. So, anyways, we walk around and we walk around the stadium, check things out. And then all of a sudden they put these ropes up. And all the security guards are saying, hey, you know what? Maybe either the band or the team is going to walk in here, just about 2.5 hours before game time. All of a sudden, the team car's walking in. I mean, Lincoln Riley, the head coach of SC, was about 10 feet from me. Rob Ryan, Rex Ryan's brother, a linebackers coach, he walked right by me. The entire team walked by me. So I'm having the time of my life. Okay, I was a kid that started following the Trojans back in 1967. The reason I always have reasons why I follow teams. My brother played in high school with a guy named Bill Juronsik, and my brother was a defensive back at Palomar College with Bill Juronsik. Juronsik was on one side, my brother was on the other. Juronsik went to SC, my brother went to the University of Arizona. And so I followed Bill Juronsik because he was a local guy from Encinitas. That's why I follow the Lakers, because of John Fairchild played 1 year for the Lakers. And to this day, I'm a big Lakers fan. And guys my age that grew up in Southern California in the 60s and 70s, we didn't have a lot of San Diego sports on. I mean, the only time San Diego State was ever on is if they made it to a bowl game like the Camellia Bowl. You get one game a year. We get the AFL Chargers. The Gulls weren't on TV, and there was really nothing else in San Diego until the Padres came in 1969. So, we always got UCLA, USC, Lakers, Dodgers. The only games you'd get from them were when they played up in San Francisco. And the Angels, they broadcast quite a few games because of Gene Autry, who owned the Angels and owned KTLA and KMPC at that point in time. So, watching SC and UCLA, if you were in San Diego, was very normal. Most people were USC football fans and UCLA basketball fans because of John Wooden and the great success they had. So going to the Coliseum for me the other day was really cool. And I was like a pig in mud. So we had to wait until 3 o'clock to get in. The game was starting, right around 4:30. So we get in, and first thing I do, Matt he goes, hey, there's the team store. You want to go in there? I go, yeah, let's go in there. So I went in there. I bought a USC hat. And bought my grandson, my one grandson, a USC sweatshirt, who, by the way, he wore it yesterday because it was brand new and it was about 85 degrees out, but he wanted to wear the sweatshirt yesterday. But anyways, so we go and sit in our seats. And we're sitting in the end zone. I love sitting in the end zone because you can see everything develop. But the whole day was just amazing. Absolutely amazing. There were other broadcasters that I knew that were sitting in our area. The band, the USC band, is fantastic, and it couldn't have gone better. Trojans won 59-20, but you know what? It wasn't even about the game. It was about the atmosphere. The fans couldn't have been better. I don't know what the final attendance was, but everybody actually watched the game. I said to Matt, I go, you notice that everybody like watches the game. They're not walking around, and it's hard to walk around and watch the game at the Coliseum unless you're in certain areas. But it was just a different vibe at the LA Memorial Coliseum. And I thought there, and I'm a nostalgia guy, and I started thinking about, OJ's great run against UCLA, uh, you know, uh, Marcus Allen playing on that field, all the great, great players. Anthony Davis, what he did that year against Notre Dame. I mean, just a lot of great memories. And think about the Olympics are going to be there in a couple of years. This is one of the greatest venues in the history of sports, and some of the greatest athletes, not just in the United States, but in the world, have competed at the LA Memorial Coliseum. And it was really cool. And I can't remember going to a game in a venue in so many years that I had such a great time. I mean, everything went perfect from getting there to park to walking around, seeing all the Trojan fans running around and how much they love their program, to the fans around us in the Coliseum, to getting out and getting on the freeway and getting back home. The only negative about getting back home is we were driving, and I could get 760, who carries the Aztecs, John Schaefer and Rich Ornberger, are calling that game. Late start up there in Pullman the other night was the Aztecs, and Jonathan Olivieri is going to give us an Aztec report on what happened up in Pullman on Saturday night. Not a good performance at all by the Aztecs. But I wanted to share my trip. I was all fired up. I got to be honest, like a kid in a candy store going to the LA Memorial Coliseum. And thanks again to Pete Arbogast for inviting us up. It was very kind to Pete. Okay, we're going to get into Padre baseball. Friday night, if you were watching the game, you may have wanted to throw your remote at the TV. The Padres get shut out at Coors Field 3-0. They had three measly hits. Kyle Freeland, who was 3-14 in a really high ERA, well over 5, went out there and toiled for 8 innings and gave up 2 hits and struck out a tying career high 10 batters. His record now 4-14 with a 5.10 ERA. I mean, that's just brutal. But I give the Padres credit. They came back on Saturday and they beat up on a guy that has no major league wins, McCade Brown. Okay, he was awful. Padres put up 6 runs in the second inning. They led 10-2, and then they had to hang on because it ended up being 10-8. Brown, an inning and 2/3, 5 hits, 6 runs all earned. He was awful. Randy Vasquez, after his wife gave birth to their 5th child, 6 innings, 8 hits, 3 runs, 2 earned runs, no walks, 3 strikeouts, gave up a homer to Hunter Goodman, but a good effort by Randy Vasquez, who's been pulled and twisted around all year long. Guy's done a good job. Got the win, his ERA under 4, eating up a lot of innings. Randy Vasquez, even though he's got a losing record, has helped this ball club a great deal, in my opinion. And I think going forward, just let the guy pitch. You know, unless he's on fumes because he's pitched more innings at the big league level this year than he ever had. Let the guy go out there and pitch. Okay, by the way, Nestor Cortez down with an elbow. I don't know if Nestor knew he had an elbow injury, but they tapped him on the shoulder and said, Nestor, you got an elbow problem. You're going on the IL after that performance last week against the Baltimore Orioles. So I don't know if we'll see Nestor Cortez anytime soon. But the Padres won on Saturday 10-8. Good job, Fernando, a 3-run homer. Arise had 3 hits, couple of RBIs. O'Hearn 3 for 5, a double. My man Freddie Fermin 2 for 5, a double, 3 RBIs. Laureano, a 2 for 5, a double. Manny had a rough night that night, 0 for 5 and a strikeout, but Manny bounced back yesterday, 2 for 4, a walk, a 2-run homer in the first. Had 3 RBIs, also added a double. Padres won yesterday 8-1. Dylan Cease, yeah, he won a ball game on the road, folks. First win on the road for Dylan Cease this year. 7-11 ERA now at 4.71, 5 innings, 4 hits, 1 run. Earned 2 walks, 5 strikeouts. Morejon looked good yesterday. Gave up a couple of hits and a walk, but man, he's throwing the ball great. 1.79 ERA. David Morgan came in. 1 inning, a couple of punch-outs. And Ron Marinaccio, who got called up when Nestor Cortez went on the IL, an inning with a walk and a couple of strikeouts. And I went back, every time we've seen Ron Marinaccio, and not that he's going to be on the playoff roster, you never know if somebody goes down. But this guy's done a good job, done a really nice job. 5 2/3. So far, he's given up only 2 hits and had 7 strikeouts, hasn't given up a run yet. So a nice job by Ron Marinaccio. Yesterday, we actually had a Jackson Merrill sighting. He got hit in the ankle. Yeah, the left ankle, the one that kept him on the IL, he got hit with a 94-mile-an-hour fastball on Saturday. And then yesterday, he came back, went 3 for 5, a double, a home run. All in all, a good day for Jackson Merrill. Maybe that'll just get him going a little bit. My man Freddie Fermin, 2 for 4, a walk and RBI. And I went back and I looked at Freddie Fermin. There was a great article in the paper on Sunday talking about this guy's not used to, and I talked about it last week. And it's always weird how I talk about things on my show, and then, I don't know, a few days later it shows up in the media. I appreciate all the media guys watching my show and getting good content, but I was talking about how Freddie Fermin, never has really been a guy that catches every day because he played behind what I think is probably going to be a Hall of Famer in Salvador Perez. I haven't talked to a lot of the baseball writers about it, but the numbers he's putting up in his put up, and he's long in the tooth, and his career's winding down. He's had a hell of a career, and Freddie Fermin has learned under Sal Perez. And when Perez couldn't play, Fermin would play, for an extended period of time, but never real long stretches. And he's had to play a lot. And Mike Schultz said, hey, he's going to catch 4 out of every 5 games. Pavetta's going to be caught by Elias Diaz. They've got good rapport, and you got to give Fermin a little bit of a time off. And so he's going through a learning process, even though he's been in the big leagues for a few years, but he's 30 years of age. But it's more than just, playing. It's the physical and mental toll that it takes getting foul tips off your toe, off your hand. And he's doing a great job. He had a good weekend, and so far in 26 games, 83 at bats, he's hitting 277 as a Padre. 6 doubles, a homer, 11 RBIs. He's a doubles guy, he's not a power guy, but he's doing a really, really good job. And I wanted to point that out. Cronenworth, another good day. Hey, how about Jake starting at shortstop yesterday? And Luis Arraez played second base. Get O'Hearn in the lineup. Get Sheets in the lineup. Sheets hit his 19th home run. 2-hit game yesterday. He got 63 RBIs. So whenever you can get those guys in is a good thing. And I thought it was interesting. Mike Schilt yesterday, when asked about Cronenworth playing shortstop and Arraez playing second, it was kind of, kind of a backhanded compliment. Saying, well, you know what? Dylan Cease is a fly ball pitcher. What I read into that is they're not going to hit a lot of ground balls, even though Cronenworth made a great play going to his left. And we know Jake can play short, but it's kind of unfair. He hadn't been there in a number of years now, to where he started a game. I think it was back in 2022. Now, he's filled in occasionally in the late innings and, extra innings type stuff. But I thought it was interesting. Mike Schultz said the reason they went with that lineup is because Cease is a fly ball pitcher. It made it sound like, you know what? We're hoping there's no ground balls hit because our guy normally throws fly balls. So, hey, nonetheless, Padres win yesterday, 8-1. They had 15 hits after having 16 hits on Saturday. And at the end of the day, they beat a bad ball club. And it's disappointing they didn't have a sweep. They have a sweep, then they're tied for first today. So now they're a game back with the tiebreaker still and will be held by the Los Angeles Dodgers. How about the Dodgers? Can you believe what happened to them over the weekend? They gave up a walk-off homer, tie ball game, bottom of the ninth on Friday. Tanner Scott in to face the rookie catcher Basallo, or Basayo, I think they say it. And I was watching the game, and Ben McDonald, the play-by-play voice or color analyst for Baltimore, goes, "Hey, it only takes one big swing. Next swing out of the ballpark, Dodgers get beat 2-1." And then on Saturday, Yamamoto, we're watching this game up at the Memorial Coliseum. All Dodger fans, they're huddled, and everybody's talking about Yamamoto throwing a no-hitter. And he gives up his first hit is a home run to Jackson Holiday, so it's 3-1 with 2 outs in the ninth. Blake Trinan comes in, spits the bit. They bring in Tanner Scott, and he gives up a 2-run single with 2 outs bottom of the ninth. Dodgers get walked off a second straight day, 4-3. I mean, Dave Roberts has to be pulling his hair out. And then they came back. Ohtani hit a couple of homers yesterday, and they won 5-2. They got all kinds of problems behind the plate. Will Smith's out. Dalton Rushing got a foul ball off his knee the other night. Self-inflicted, I might add. He's on the IL. Dodgers are looking for catchers. They got guys right now behind the plate that probably don't belong in the big leagues, to be honest with you. And I know no Padre fans are going to cry about that. Not sure when Will Smith's coming back, but Rushing's actually on the IL. So Dodgers going to be back home tonight. They open up a series against Colorado. They got an interesting week. They got Colorado for 3, an off day, and then they got to go to San Francisco. So we'll see what happens there. Okay, I want to get out right now. And I want to get to Coach's Crew. We got a lot still to get done today. So let's get out to Coach's Crew. Everybody's got to have an opinion after this weekend. I can tell you this, and I'm going to get into the pitching matchups in a little bit. There's some really tough pitchers going against the Padres. Cincinnati throwing some good dudes. We miss Hunter Green, but there are 3 guys on the mound that are pretty damn good. And the guy going tonight, Nick Lodolo's tough. Got 2 complete games and a shutout on the year and a very good ERA. So let's get out to Coach's Crew. Want to get to questions today, see what you members of the crew have to say. Yippee, coach. My first experience was going to the Coliseum for NFL Pro Bowl in 1968. Glad you seen SC. Yeah, it was really cool. I mean, all the years that I've watched games from the Coliseum and to be able to sit there as a fan, it was really cool. It was really cool. And, my son in law said, man, I want to get back up here. And, the other thing that was interesting, the prices. I'll be the first guy to bitch, moan, and complain about, price gouging. I thought it was very fair. I mean, I had no problem paying the $60. Man, we got in and out, good area. I bought a sweatshirt for my grandson. It was $45. Beautiful sweatshirt. I got a hat for 32. It was great. And they had other things that were more pricey, but hey, you know what? It was fair. I had a hot dog, $12 hot dog that was unbelievably huge. Everything was fair. I didn't feel like we got gouged. And but no, I thought that was really cool. And it's so many great events. I remember when the Pro Bowl used to be played at the Coliseum. I remember that very well, actually. Yippee, thank you very much. Appreciate that. All right, Casey King. All right, our resident Dodger fan here. Good morning, Coach. And as for my Dodgers, you think Tanner Scott might still be hurting? They're still looking shaky, and you think the Giants might be still a threat in the NL West? you know, Giants too far back. They had a tough loss yesterday. They're playing well enough to, really spoil the fun for the Dodgers, I think. In fact, you look at the schedule, and I'm going to go through the schedule a little bit later for both the Padres and the Dodgers. 19 games left. 7 of those games the Dodgers have are against the Giants. They got 3 up there, and then they got 4 down at Dodger Stadium next week. So it's going to come down to the wire. Padres, the first 3 games this week, Dodgers have the advantage. We'll see where it goes because hey, let's face it, at the end of the week, Padres have the advantage. They got 4 against Colorado starting on Thursday. So you got the Dodgers with 3 against Colorado. Then they go up to San Francisco for 3. Padres got 3 against Cincinnati, and Cincinnati's trying to stay alive. And then you got Colorado coming in. Colorado has no pitching. They really don't have any pitching. I mean, they got some dudes, if you make a mistake, they can hit a ball a long ways. Their offensive team is not bad. They can score runs. But, man, their pitching staff is absolutely awful. Casey, thank you very much. Very much appreciate that. And as far as Tanner Scott, I think his confidence has got to have been shaken. He has just had a miserable year. And I think he's healthy, but he's had a miserable year. Isabel, hi, Coach. I won't be surprised if Nestor has to have Tommy John surgery. That's what happened to Evan Phillips. Yeah, I hope not. I hope they can rehab it. That flexor tendon, man, it gets in there like a loose piece of spaghetti. And I like Nestor Corte. I think he's a good guy, and I think he's a good teammate. And had some good off-speed stuff. Had no fastball though, and he was getting killed with the fastball. So he's going to be a free agent again. So we'll see what ends up happening. And I hope that's not the case, man. That's such a long road back. 30 years of age, and he's had kind of a rough go. He gave up that home run in the World Series to Freddie Freeman. Things didn't work out in Milwaukee, and really right now things aren't working out in San Diego. Now being on the IL, got to wonder if he'll pitch again this year. But we'll have to keep our eyes on that one. Isabel, thank you very much. Very much appreciate that. Big Sam Sanford, good morning, Coach. Happy Monday. What do you think the record needs to be over these last 19 in order to get the division or get the wild card? Wild card, we're going to be okay. Okay, I think, we had 3 against Colorado. We got 4 more against Colorado. You win 3 out of 4. That's going to help you a great deal. This Cincinnati series concerning me. Cincinnati's a pretty good ball club, and they got a great manager, and they're going to continue to play hard. That's the thing you want to take a look at now. We're a team, what kind of pitching they have. Cincinnati's got good pitching. They got some dudes that can hit. Ellie De La Cruz, their shortstop, can change the ball game in a hurry. They got some other dudes that can swing the bat a little bit, but they got pitching. Bullpen a little bit shaky, but they got a manager where guys are going to play hard. Some teams this time of year, they're already booking their trips, where they're going to play golf, what they're going to do with their family, and they're just counting the days down. Cincinnati's not one of those teams. Colorado, they got a lot of young guys that you saw over the weekend. They play hard. They're just limited, and they have no pitching at all whatsoever. A guy like Freeland, comes up with a great game, and it was probably good for Freeland because, remember he got kicked out after 8 pitches earlier in the week when he gave up that homer to Rafael Devers and ended up popping off, and the bench was emptied. So he was a very fresh pitcher after throwing only 8 pitches in his last start. But I don't know. I mean, I guess if you could go, uh, win 12 games out of your final 9, go 12-7. That probably get you. I don't know if it'll get you the division title. I mean, I don't know what to make of the Dodgers right now. I can't remember the last time the Dodgers have had a swoon like this. I mean, and you know what? Everybody in LA was talking about, well, the Padres won't be able to overtake the Dodgers. I'm not so sure about that now. I mean, the Dodgers are really handing the division to the Padres. They're handing them to them. When's the last time the Dodgers have had a meltdown like this? I mean, you have to go back over a decade. I mean, they're handing the division to the Padres, and to this point, the Padres haven't wanted to take it. And now the Padres have got to win 2 more games than the Dodgers in the final 19. I mean, the Dodgers are probably pretty content to win, 2 out of 3. They win 2 out of 3, they're probably going to win the division. But they got a key series next week against Philadelphia at Dodger Stadium. The Dodgers' schedule, and I'm going to get to that before long, they got a really difficult schedule. The Padres have got not nearly as difficult schedule down the stretch as the Dodgers are playing a lot of teams that are in the playoff hunt. So, you go 12-7, you might win the division. You're definitely going to be in the playoffs. But again, you got to win 2 more games than the Dodgers. So you go 12-7. That means the Dodgers have got to go, what, 9-11? Or, yeah, 9-10. I don't know if that's going to happen. It could. They've been under 500 since July 1st. I don't know, man. Every night's going to be must-watch TV, I can tell you that. Sam, thank you very much. Appreciate that. Omar, I hate to say it, Coach, but I prefer the playoff bracket as it is. Have Phillies, Mets deal with LA. Have the team focus on winning a World Series, not on beating LA. Yeah, we got to realize, if you get to the NLCS, then that's the team you have to beat. But sometimes I think when we get in the playoffs, it's all about, well, if we can win this, we got to play the Dodgers. Focus on the team you're supposed to play. I mean, we got Dodger fever down here. And it hasn't played well the last couple of times. I know we can go back to 2022 and we're still raising our banner about knocking them out of the playoffs. And that was great at that point in time. And we're in 2025 now. So you gotta figure it out, and we gotta play better. I mean, the Padres beat up on an awful team. A team is very well going to lose 110 games. I mean, I'm not going to raise my banner for that. I can tell you that. And you know what? The Rockies will come in here. They'll probably get 1 out against the Padres, I would think. Hopefully not 2. If the Padres go 2-2 against Colorado, that's a complete and utter disaster because they have no pitching. I mean, it's unbelievable an organization can have no pitching. But the Rockies, nothing. I mean, they got one guy, Dolander. They're talking about how good he could be. He's 2-12 and gets this. I mean, his numbers are just a joke. I mean, figure it out. But no, I agree with you, man. You got to, you know what? Right now, the playoff game is tonight against the Cincinnati Reds. It's going to be Yu Darvish against Nick Lodolo. And Lodolo's a damn good pitcher. And everybody in baseball will tell you that. Omar, thank you very much. Very much appreciate that. Okay, let's get to the pitching matchups. I just mentioned Lodolo. Let me tell you a little bit more about Nick Lodolo. He went to TCU. Good program. Left-hander, 8-7 on the year with a 3.22 going against Yu Darvish, 3-5 and a 5.75. Hey, let's face it, folks. We have no idea what we're getting out of Yu Darvish from one game to the next, do we? Okay, in the last couple of starts, hadn't gone more than 4 innings. Lodolo's got 2 complete games on the year, a shutout this year. I mean, how many pitchers throw complete games? This guy's thrown 2 and had a shutout to boot. So he's going tonight at 6:40. Tomorrow night, it'll be right-hander Zach Littell 9-8 and a 3.81. He's another tough customer. Padres haven't named a starter for tomorrow night. And then Wednesday, now I want you to remember on Wednesday, Monday and Tuesday are at the customary 640. Wednesday will be 540, and that's tough for the hitters. That's tough for the fielders at that time. But it'll be at 540. No 110 game. 540 on Wednesday. Left-hander Andrew Abbott, 8-6 and a 2.88 ERA. Here's another guy that can pitch. Going against right-hander Nick Pivetta, 13-5 and a 2.85. Yeah, Pivetta didn't pitch bad the other night. He got beat on Friday night by Freeland. But Nick Pivetta's having a career year right now. Okay, the other thing, I want to go through the schedules here. And because I think the schedules are very important at this point in time. Padres this week, they got 3 at home against Cincinnati, 4 against Colorado. They're off next Monday, September 15th. They're off. Then they're at New York. They got to play the Mets, and that's going to be a battle. And they'll be in New York on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So it'll be the 16th, 17th, 18th. Then they stop by the Chicago White Sox. And I'm going to tell you right now, we know the Padres have not fared well against the American League. White Sox, Will Venable, I guarantee, is going to want to try to take down his former ball club. And they're winning some games. They're very competitive. They're not the White Sox of a year ago. They're obviously, going to lose 90 plus games, but they're competitive and they can beat you. And you don't want the White Sox to take 2 out of 3, I can tell you that. And that'll be at the end of next week, the 19th, 20th, and 21st. And then the Padres come home on September 22nd. They got 3 games against Milwaukee, and Milwaukee going to want to keep pressing the metal. They want to get that number 1 seed off on the 25th, and then they finish the regular season on the 26th, 27th, and 28th at home against the Arizona Diamondbacks. So those are the Padres' final 19 games of the year. Now for the Dodgers, listen to their gauntlet. Not going to be easy for the Dodgers at all. They start tonight. They got 3 against Colorado, off on Thursday, 3 at San Francisco. Then they come home and they got 3 against Philadelphia next week, 4 against the Giants. Then they go out the final 6 games of the season. They're at Arizona for 3, and then they have to finish up in Seattle with 3. Not an easy task for the Dodgers. But again, we're not sitting around crying for the Dodgers. Okay, let's take a look at the standings here. We're going to get you a college football report here shortly as well. AL standings after this weekend. Toronto, 2-game lead on the Yankees. Man, what a race that is. And you know what? Boston's not out of it yet at 3.5 games back. Detroit, they've got that thing wrapped up. 8.5-game lead right now over Detroit. Tell you what, Cleveland's a couple games over 500, but they kind of spit the bit here about 3 weeks ago and kind of went backwards and have had to play to get back to that 72 and 70 mark. Houston, only a 2.5-game lead over the Seattle Mariners. Bruce Bochy's ball club, 4 games back. Our Angels, 67 and 76, 10.5 games back. Okay, let's take a look at the wild card in the American League. And the Yankees in right now in secure spot of a wild card. Boston right there. Seattle hanging on over Texas by 1.5 games, and Kansas City by 2. Guardians not completely out of it at 2.5 games back. And even Tampa Bay hanging in there at 4 games back. Now, wouldn't it be, I mean, Seattle, I think, has got a chance if they get in with that pitching staff and the long ball. They're a perfect postseason team. They got outstanding pitching, a good bullpen, and they got power. But man, they better start playing better, or they're not going to get in. Texas playing good baseball, only 1.5 games back. And Kansas City, every time you think Kansas City's going to play their way out of it, they play their way back into it, only 2 games back. All right, let's take a look at the National League. There we go. Philadelphia, they got it wrapped up 7 games. 7 games. They're going to win the division title in the NL East. Milwaukee, 7.5-game lead over the Cubbies right now. They're going to win it. Dodgers, Padres, look at that. Giants, 7 games back. All right. The only race is in the West. And it's going to be, man, it's going to be a lot of fun. Look at that. Both teams have only won 3 games in their last 10. And that's why I'm saying the Padres, man, you play 500 ball, you're a game up. It's amazing. Amazing how they haven't wanted to take the division. Okay, let's get to the wild card. Okay, wild card. Cubbies in good shape. Padres in good shape. Mets hanging in there right now. 4 games back. You don't think Cincinnati and the Giants are going to lay it on the line the next couple of weeks? They're right there. Even the Diamondbacks are still alive, believe it or not. And the Cardinals are still alive. But look at that. The Reds come in. They got 3 games against the Padres. How about if they swept the Padres? Where would that put them? Or they'd be right in the middle of everything, wouldn't they? Giants, they've got the Dodgers this weekend up in Oracle Park. We'll see what happens. But there you have it. All right. I think it's time to get to our big Aztec football report. And our man that writes for the East Village Times and is a producer, director, and does a little bit of everything for me and does an incredible job. Good man, Jonathan Olivieri joins me on the John Kentera show. And Jonathan, Matt and I were driving back from LA the other night, and we were listening to the SC postgame show, and then we got within distance, and we turned on 760 and listening to buddies John Schaefer and Rich Ornberger. And when they gave the score late in the third quarter, I'm going, oh no, because I really thought after what I saw a week ago, not so much from the Aztecs and their 42-0 win over Stony Brook, but what I saw with Washington State kicking a field goal to beat Idaho at the gun, 13-10. I go, man, the Aztecs, they got a real shot to go up there and win that football game, and they just couldn't get it done at all. In fact, it was a very poor performance.
Yeah, no, I know. After that first game, they gave up just under 100 yards of total offense to Stony Brook. They gave up 300 more than that versus the Cougars. They gave up 396. But yeah, they started out. They went down there, scored an opening touchdown. And then after that, they gave up 29 unanswered points, 4 3-and-outs after the first touchdown, and it was just kind of downhill after that. The offense couldn't seem to get things clicking, and the defense just started to falter late in the game and give up a lot of points there.
I haven't looked at the Aztec message boards, but I'm sure there's a lot of overreaction right now. You're losing to a team that next year will be in your league, the Pac-12. The offense does not look good. Okay, Denegal didn't look good the other night. He got caught for a safety early in the football game, and after that, it really was all Washington State, quite frankly, from what I saw. And I went back and looked at some stuff a little bit later on. I thought Lucky Sutton ran the ball pretty well. Offensive line did have some moments the other night. Defense, we talked about the defense of the Aztecs, especially the secondary. This really didn't get done the other night. And, they got to bye this week, and then they got to play Cal at Snapdragon Stadium. And, I was mentioning message boards. I'm sure there's a complete overreaction of fans going, oh, here we go again after they were 3-9 and they were awful the year before under Brady Hoke. And now Coach Lewis is 4-10 as his tenure at San Diego State continues. And, I'm very anxious to see where this team is going to go this year.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. Yeah, as you mentioned earlier, that safety before half, that was huge. I expected them to run out the clock there. There's 1:06 left, and then they, pass and get the safety and then kick off, and then Washington State was able to go down and get a touchdown before half, which was disappointing. But yeah, like you said, I expected them after that first week. Last season they were 1-5 on the road, and I thought this was I expected it to be a realistic game for them, and then just drop the ball. Hopefully they can recoup during this bye week, but it's going to be a tough game against Cal at home. So,
Jonathan, I look at Cal, and Cal's not what they were years ago. I remember when Ted Tollner was the head coach, and they beat Cal a couple of games at old Jack Murphy Stadium. But Cal is still trying to figure out their football program a little bit. I would like to say it's a winnable game, especially at Snapdragon, but right now I'd have to probably favor Cal. And then they've got to go on the road to Eastern Illinois, which will not be a cupcake. And then their conference openers against Colorado State, who's not a bad football team at all.
Yeah, no, yeah, it's interesting kind of how the rest of the season plays out, and then Boise late in the season at home, um, which is dangerous too because last season what we saw with this defense and what we're kind of seeing now, except it's a little bit accelerated, is as the season goes on they get worn down. So yeah, I think Lewis. Well, last season he had mentioned the offense would need to be about a year and a half to get up to the full speed, but that was probably based off of hoping that he would have Danny O'Neill, who's with Wisconsin now, in kind of learning that process. So with a new quarterback like Denegal, he just hasn't been clicking. 50% completion percentage against Washington. I think he was 15 for 30. So yeah, I expected a little bit more from the offense because I figured, okay, last season when he's putting in all these installs and all these packages, by year 2 now, despite having a new quarterback, he would maybe have a few ways that he would want to change things and kind of plug things in that would be more effective and kind of get the ball rolling sooner in the season. But we haven't seen that yet.
I was sitting at the Coliseum the other day, and it was hard not to think about the Aztecs going to the Pac-12, and of course, SC's no longer a member of the Pac-12,
Mm-hmm.
and so it's not really the Pac-12. It's kind of, to be honest with you, I think a glorified Mountain West Conference. Okay, I know
Yeah.
you're going to have Oregon State and Washington State, but it's kind of a glorified Mountain West Conference. And
Right.
I'm saying right now, you bring in Oregon State, you bring in Washington State, the other teams that are coming from the Mountain West Conference, and I'm going, man, San Diego State's got to get a whole lot better. They're going to be down at the bottom looking up.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not going to be if they can't get the ball rolling, it's not going to be fun going into there. You would hope that they can maybe use that that Pac-12. Joining the Pac-12 is sort of a recruitment tool to kind of get some bigger name players, some guys that can come in and make an impact and help them not be in the bottom of the barrel in their first couple seasons at the Pac-12. But so far it hasn't happened yet. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see once that switch is made. It's going to shake some things up and kind of see how teams will be. It's going to be tough for them, but hopefully they can kind of figure it out. And Lewis, they're going to obviously give them some time to figure it out. They're not going to dump them right away and move on, because now with college football, it's going to be, it's not just, you can't just be going through head coaches. You need, you want to have a guy there. You want to have some continuance going into the following seasons, and hoping that he can, recruit some classes that'll help them do well in the new Pac-12.
But what's interesting? This kind of, if they had to make a change, which they're not going to now. I mean, they're not going to blow a coach out because he inherited a program that was not going the right way, and it's going to
You're
take
right. Yeah.
time. And
Yeah.
but next year, middle of the year, if things aren't going well, then you got to start kind of wondering what's going on. But I will tell you
Yeah.
this:
Mm-hmm.
this is the first real football hire for the athletic director, J.D. Wicker.
Yeah.
He hired Brady Hoke after Rocky Long unceremoniously left, and I don't really know the whole story on that. I think I do, but I'm not going to get into that publicly.
Yeah.
But he, in my opinion, took the easy way and hired Brady Hoke.
Yeah.
So this is his first real hire, and
Mm-hmm.
if you had to go a different direction in a short period of time, I mean, that kind of falls on the athletic director a little bit. But you know
Yeah.
what? We'll have that conversation later on. But they got to get this football program going. Right now, it's just not going the right way. I like Sean Lewis. I believe he's a good coach. But you got to have players, and some guys are going to take longer to develop. Denegal, yeah, everybody wants to talk about how he played at Michigan. Well, he really didn't play at Michigan. He played a little bit, okay? He
Right.
did mostly handing off and mop up duty. He never started a game. So he's a young, inexperienced quarterback with a lot on his plate right now. It's going to take some time, and hopefully he's able to make that adjustment and take it to the next level because he is a good athlete.
Oh
But
yeah. Yeah.
again, we got to give him a little bit of time. But it was a very, for me, and I think for you and Aztec fan, it was a disappointing performance the other night. We were expecting a
Yeah.
little bit better.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. I mean, at least a closer game. Last season we saw those road games were of the 6 road games, and they were 1-5. Most of them, the majority, I believe, were were by one score or less. So to see them kind of have a game like this, a 36-13, where it wasn't as close as those other ones, was a little bit disappointing, especially in year two when you would expect things to be kind of working a little bit better there for them.
All right, Jonathan, good job, buddy. And
Thank you.
Aztecs off this week, and then they'll tee it up on Saturday night, the 20th, against a very interesting opponent, the California Golden Bears.
Oh yeah, we'll be there. It'll be interesting to watch.
All righty,
Thanks,
my
man.
friend. Thank you.
Yep, thank you.
Okay, just to reiterate, give you a little college football roundup. SC defeated Georgia Southern 59-20. Trojans rolled up 755 total yards. Quarterback Jaden Maeva, 16 of 24, 412 yards, 4 touchdowns. Running back Wayman Jordan, 16 carries, 167 yards and a touchdown. And Makai Lemon, 4 catches, 158 yards and 2 touchdowns. Saturday, the Trojans go to Lafayette, Indiana, to take on the Purdue Boilermakers. The Trojans didn't win a road game in the Big Ten last year. This has to change. They got to win. They got to win. Trojans got to get back to national prominence. They play at 12:30 Saturday at Allegiant Stadium. UCLA got beat by UNLV 30-23. They were trying to come back late. An interception thwarted their opportunity. UCLA, they got beat by UNLV 30-23. Of course, the Aztecs will see UNLV later in the year. UCLA, I don't think Deshaun Foster is going to make it. I just, rough year last year. We'll see where it goes. I just don't think he's going to make it there as a head coach. They're 0-2. UNLV improves to 3-0. Friday night, they play New Mexico at UCLA. If UCLA gets beat by New Mexico, anybody that cares about the UCLA football program is going to be knocking on the door of the athletic director, Martin Jarman, saying, what is going on here? So a big game on Friday night for UCLA. And then, of course, Saturday night, Aztecs got beat 36-13. Aztecs had only 215 total yards in the ball game. They didn't have any turnovers. Cougars rolled up 402 total yards. Aztecs, get this, 2 of 13 on third down, 1 of 4 on fourth down. And again, a bye week, and then Cal comes to town. So I don't know. I mean, Aztecs have a lot of work to do. And you know what? NIL, I'm sure, plays a part into it to a certain degree. But at the end of the day, if you're going to compete on the football gridiron, you got to figure it out. And you got to get better. Disappointing effort the other night. And I don't know what to tell you on Aztec football. It's everybody said, oh, man, it's a sleeping giant. It's a sleeping giant. It's been a sleeping giant for a long time. I mean, you've had some good years. You had a good run there with Rocky Long. But it is what it is now. A lot of work to do. A lot of work to do. All right, let's get to Coach's mailbag before we get out of here today. Aztec football really frustrates me. User, I was excited for Nestor, but now it looks like another player on the injury list. Yeah, I don't know if he knew he was hurt, but they told him he was hurt, so he's on the IL, and they brought up Ron Marinaccio. It's that simple. All right, what else we got? The 54. Who needs to step up most in these final game? Machado and Tatis. They're the guys that can turn a ball game around in a hurry. Those guys got to play. Neither one of them have played that great in the last couple of months. We can talk about Fernando's on base percentage. He got 20 home runs. Wow. 4 years ago, he hit 42 home runs, so he's having a down year. Average wise, barely hitting 260 right now. Machado's had a couple of bad months. They feasted on bad pitching this week, and let's see what they can do against Cincinnati. Cincinnati's got some dudes that can pitch. That's what I think. It comes down to Tatis and Machado. Those guys have a good 19 games. Padres are going to be in good shape. Padres are going to pitch well enough. They'll find a way, even though their starters have not been great. And we don't know what to expect out of Darvish tonight. We don't even know who's pitching tomorrow. Pavetta's throwing Wednesday. But they got the bullpen. Aristote's got a pitch, but he hadn't had a good about a month or 5-6 weeks. He hadn't pitched well. Estrada giving up runs almost every appearance, it seems like. So his ERA has gone up considerably in the last 6 weeks. But that's what I think. Comes down to Tatis and Machado. They got to play better. And I haven't heard anything on King. He was supposed to throw a bullpen, but I didn't get a report on him. And Bogart, I'm hoping Xander can get back in there. We're a lot better ball club with Xander's playing shortstop and in that lineup. They have not played well at all. They were 1-5 until this weekend. So what are they? 3-6 without Xander Bogaerts. Yeah, they got to get that guy back in the lineup. Murphy John, what NFL games were you most excited for this weekend? Well, you know what? I got to congratulate the Chargers. Chargers played a hell of a game. And, I'm one of these guys, if you do well, I'm going to praise you. I'm not a Charger fan any longer, but they totally dominated the Kansas City. They played great. And then I watched the 49er game when I got home from my granddaughter's beach volleyball tournament yesterday in Coronado, pulling from my boy John Lynch and the 49ers. They pulled one out against a tough Seattle team. And then last night, I still can't believe how Baltimore lost. Baltimore played great last night until like the last 4 minutes. My favorite player in the NFL was having an amazing game last night, Derrick Henry. And he put the ball on the ground. And Buffalo came back from being down 15 points, and Prater kicks that field goal with no time left. And Buffalo wins at home 41-4. That was a hell of a game. So, that's what I saw of the NFL. And again, give the Chargers credit. I don't know how they're going to end up doing this year. They usually find a way to screw it up. But that was a hell of a performance in Brazil the other night against the Kansas City Chiefs. They really dominated that game from the opening kickoff to the final gun. So the NFL season got off to a really, really good start. So there you have it. Okay, we got any other? Okay, hey, I want to thank everyone for watching. Please subscribe. Please like. Please turn on your notifications. And again, we'll put up our Gold Glove special for if you'd like to support the program. Okay. I'm not twisting your arm, but if you can afford $2.99 a month, would very much appreciate helping support the program. $2.99 a month. Just take a look at it. Click on where it says join, and would very much appreciate it. So thank you very much. Thank you very much. Okay, we'll be in on Wednesday morning, 9 a.m. I'm all fired. I can't wait for Wednesday. I'm excited about the games tonight. The games tomorrow, I'll be monitoring everything. I mean, this is a great time of year to be a sports fan. There's no question about that. And again, thank you so much for tuning in. For Jonathan Olivieri, Coach John Kentera, we'll talk to you again Wednesday morning at 9 a.m. on the John Kentera Show on San Diego Sports Talk. Bye-bye.